Hi.
He's already filming.
And working here in LA, I've gone to places, no joke, and I can't get out.
Hey, how are you?
So, good, how are you? So I just reached saying, this way. So are you ready?
Yeah, this time around.
Need to take advantage of the ambassadors. Just a lot. I was paralyzed at the age of 19. Right at that time, I felt so powerful and invincible. My boyfriend and his friends, they had planned to go to Rosarito and have a good time. We decided to grab a taxi because we didn't want to drink and drive. All of us went in that car. It was a big old car. I just remember it was kind of cold and we were going fast. And all of a sudden, we struck a horse that was randomly standing in the middle of the road. The roof and the horse collapsed on top of my spine and severed my spinal cord. I had multiple fractures, my lungs collapsed, I couldn't speak. I broke my ribs, also had facial fractures. I was just broken in so many ways, but especially I was heartbroken after this accident because Patrick didn't survive. He was holding me to try to protect me, and he did. He saved my life. It was instant death for him and for the taxi driver. Later on, say like a year post-injury, it's natural, you start to like somebody. I remember feeling guilty, feeling like I'm cheating on Patrick. Knowing the love he had for me, I also knew he would want me to be happy and find somebody. He wouldn't want me to be alone forever. Now I can proudly say I'm in a good relationship. I'm engaged now, so it's different. I hope to make him proud and that what he did wasn't in vain, and it's a way that he'll always live forever.
So, with that being said, like love after love, I guess, and how did you keep going with that?
It was really difficult. My mind was playing so many tricks on me. My mind was telling me something, my heart was telling me something else. At that moment, I felt abandoned by Patrick to some extent, because I remember thinking, where is he? This is like the most difficult thing I've ever gone through and he's not here, and being mad at him. But then I would remind myself of what happened. It's not like he chose to leave me or to not be here. And so it was really hard, like processing my feelings and my emotions. And so it was very difficult to process what my mind was telling me, and then I would have dreams and he would be in my dreams, and then I would wake up and he wasn't there. And I felt like I was, for a long time, I felt like I was still in a relationship with Patrick, because we were in a relationship and we probably would have gone married. Everybody, that's also how come it was such a difficult accident, because everybody always remembered us together. So then seeing me by myself and knowing what happened was really heartbreaking for a lot of people. And so for a long time, it was really tough because I felt like I was in a relationship, yet that person wasn't there and that person couldn't be there for me. So what do you do? Like, do you focus on being mad because you don't have that person, that support? Or I guess you remember the good times and you try to move forward, gaining strength from that, which is, I guess, what I did. Most of all, I try to channel my emotions in a way that I could move forward instead of staying back there. Yeah, it was because when you break up with somebody, you at least have that closure, that for the most part. Like, you know, even if they tell you, even if somebody breaks their heart and they tell you, I don't want to be with you or I'm done, at least you have that, and I didn't. And so that made this process even more difficult.
So, as far as the process went, like right now you're talking about how difficult it was. How did it become easier? How did you figure things out and end up with?
I think I just had to let go of Patrick eventually. Like really had to go through those grieving stages and really feel all of those out. And eventually it's like, he's not coming back. You know, as much as I wish he would come back, and my mind would still play those tricks on me, like I would have dreams where he came back, because I'm sure that's what my heart really wished. But eventually it's like, he's not gonna come back. It's weird because I felt a lot his presence, even though he was no longer here physically. Different things happened along my journey after he passed, where it would be signs that, like, I'm here, like I'm still here, or I'm watching over you. And I remember one time going to the cemetery to visit him, and I think I was telling him that I had to let go of him. It was special, but it was also really painful. And I remember, like, out of nowhere, I still don't remember exactly all the details because it's been so long, but out of nowhere there was like these birds, and then there was like wind, and it was like, before that everything was super calm. So I felt like he was telling me, I hear you and I'm happy. Like, you know, I felt like I had to do that. And so I think once I allowed myself to go there and be okay with that, then it was easier to be able to go out or meet guys and kind of let somebody in. It was 2.5 years post when the first time I started to like date somebody seriously, like again. And that process it wasn't easy, actually. I remember I thought about breaking up with this guy because I kept comparing him to Patrick. And so nothing was good enough, and everything was like a comparison. And I remember thinking, this is shitty. This is not fair to this person. It's not fair to me. But encouraged by a friend, she was like, it only been maybe 3 weeks, like not that long, and she said, I should give it some time. Like, this is the first serious relationship after Patrick. It's normal what you're going through. It's normal to compare things, but just try to not compare and try to let this person in. And if you still don't feel it's right, then, you know, you'll talk to them. And so I did. And eventually those feelings of comparing this person kind of started to go away, and I started to focus on whatever it was that we had. And we lasted a few years, so I guess it went good.
In 2006, I was a single mom, and I was 7 months pregnant when an intruder broke into my house and shot me in the neck. My brother ran in and he had his thumb in my neck and 3 fingers in my back to stop the bleeding. They asked me where my cousin was, who had just been with me that night. He was found the next day by a jogger. He had 2 bullets to the head. The shooter shot him first and then backtracked to my house and broke in. And that's when he shot me in the neck. My 12-year-old daughter, she had to cover her brother and sister's eyes so that they didn't see me in the condition that she had just seen me in, because I actually died at the scene. I remember hearing God's voice saying, "Breathe, Maggie, breathe." And then the next voice I heard was the nurse asking me if we were going to be working on my life or saving my life or saving the baby's life. And I felt his spirit leave my body. Because when I woke up 4 weeks later from a coma, the doctor told me that had I not been pregnant, I wouldn't have survived. I had so much blood loss that the blood I carried in my womb is what saved my life. So that's something I cherish, my son, that I wonder sometimes what he would look like or who he would be. It's hard. I was told that I would be paralyzed from my neckline down, that I would be dependent on a breathing machine for the rest of my life, and that I would no longer speak. My kids braid my hair. I don't braid their hair. I can do my own makeup, but they have to dress me. I have accidents. They have to clean me up. It's not the way life's supposed to be. Again, the dignity thing, that I was robbed of that. That hurts more than not being able to walk. As a kid, I'm that old romantic that still dreams about that white picket fence and that prince in shining armor that's going to come and save the day. I still dream about that, and it's like that dream was shattered. That's never going to happen. And that lasted for a long time. And that was hard. The first thing that I wanted to do, when I was told that I had lost my mobility and I had lost my son and I had lost my cousin, the first thing I thought about is my kids. How am I going to be a mom to my kids? And I prayed to God. I was like, God, give me something. And I was like, how am I going to be a mom? How is that going to work? I was a cheer coach. I was the go-to for everything. The dancer, I cooked, I cleaned. What was that going to look like? How was that going to play out? And after prayer and a lot of effort, the first thing to go was the breathing machine. And then a couple months later, I started speaking and moving. And after a year of my mom being my caregiver, my oldest daughter stepped in because me and my mom just started clashing. It was just, she wouldn't let me do anything. She's a very old school caregiver Mexican mom. And she was still feeding me, spoon feeding me. And she wouldn't let me do anything. And it was just not good. And it seemed like as soon as she left, I've talked about this in the past, but I actually kicked her out of my house, which is kind of the best thing I ever did, because it helped our relationship get better again. And then it just opened up my independence. But then it shifted all of that responsibility to my oldest daughter. And I was really hard on her. I think she started being my official caregiver at the age of 14. And it was just her, my 2 younger kids, and I living at home. And I homeschooled, and they all took care of Mom. And we did that for a couple of years until my oldest couldn't take it anymore, and she left home. And the middle child stepped up and became the caregiver. And that was really hard on both of them. Sometimes they like throw it in my face and they're angry about it because they feel like, yeah, because they feel like they were robbed of some of their youth. And then as they get older, they stop and they think, you know what? Because we went through that, we're stronger and we're more mature and we're able to handle things a lot differently. And our relationship has really grown now that they're older. They're 24, 23 and 19 now. And value it a lot more now.
So what, like I was telling you before we started shooting, that you are the only single mom that I have for this film. And so my specific question to you is, what did the meaning of becoming a mother, being a mother, what did that become to you? Now that you are paralyzed, so how did the meaning of being a mom change to you at all? Now that you have to pull so much, like you said, you didn't know how you were going to do it. So what changed in your heart and your soul as far as being a mom?
Disciplining them changed too, because then you have the balance of like, and it happened a lot, like where they were like, well then I just won't change you. Like, no, you can't go out tonight. Well then fine, then you're not eating. Things like that happened. And then my oldest, there was times where she wanted to go out with her friends and she'd give me like extra sleeping pills to go out and do it. Things like that once you found out or you didn't have control over, you're just like, this is not okay. This is not the way things are supposed to happen. All we have is each other, and that's what I've taught them growing up, is all we have is each other, and we have to be here for each other. And that's why I say, like, sometimes I feel like I rob them, but that's just me feeling guilty because, yeah, sometimes, a lot of times it was hard. It's natural. But they're rock stars. Like I said, they're my best friends. They're my arms, my legs. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. They're my drive. And likewise, we talk every day. My oldest is my next door neighbor, and my middle child is studying at Azusa Pacific University, but she comes down every weekend to be my caregiver because she wants to. And my son, he's at a program called Job Corps, and he's getting ready to leave to the Army in July. But every decision he makes, he contacts me, and we talk a lot. He's my protector.
And my question to you is, what does that all mean to you now?
I don't know how to answer that. It's just, I don't know how to answer that. I love them. They're my world. But I don't know that anything has changed as far as the feeling of being a mom, other than not being able to be the mom that I was.
Gentlemen, we're rolling.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, my friend. So AJ, I wanted to start off this documentary by giving an explanation to why someone like me who doesn't have a disability has an immense infatuation with the people who do. And the reason for that is because I have bipolar disorder. And so with that being said, I've always had a huge heart for the underdog.
Yes.
Since I started working with people with disabilities, I've stopped tipping over in my own life, and it's meant everything and more to me. And when I met you and you gave me the idea to make this film, I figured out a way how to identify with, to relate with people with disabilities even more so, which is I relate to the question so much of, well, who's gonna love me now? You know, your situation is far more extreme than mine, but it still helps me to understand so much more so. So my first question to you is, what has the process been like of filling that void that pretty much everybody has to go through at some point in their life of finding someone to love you in an emotional and sexual way, you know, finding that someone who makes the mundane significant?
Well, it's been pretty challenging, and I would say I've had different thoughts about it and different opinions about it at different times. Every now and again, like, people would make jokes with me about, like, being sexy or backing it up for me, but it didn't go beyond, like, hey, you're a cool dude, you're really cool, you're awesome, you have a big heart, and every now and again, I may shake it in your face, but it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go beyond that, you know.
So my question to you is,
Like,
how does that really feel?
Don't put this in the doc if I start crying, because I've already cried in one doc. I try not to think about it too much, and I know it's a difference between what you think in your brain and what you actually are, but sometimes I feel like a loser. Like, I haven't, like, I just, like, you know, I'm 34 years old, and I have yet to have a romantic relationship. And I can't figure out why I can't achieve that. I've been called mature, emotionally mature, a southern gentleman, a loving guy. I've been told that I'm wise. I've been told they don't make them like you anymore. So I guess, like, I'm always just trying to figure out the great conundrum. Then why don't I have a relationship?
Yeah.
I can't figure it out, but I try to be very positive and not be on, like, a soapbox or whine or cry about it. Maybe it's just like the universe is saying it's just not your time yet. Hopefully it'll be time soon, because it's hard, man. I really want a relationship. Maybe I'm focusing on it so much that it's not happening, and maybe when I say, you know what, I'm not gonna think about that, maybe it will. Maybe it'll happen. I mean, like, on a big scene and thing, and the way that I was raised, my mom always teaches me to look at what you do have and all the great, wonderful things instead of what you don't have. So, in the big picture of all the things I have all these wonderful things. So, I just, I want to focus every day on what I do have. And because when I focus on what I don't have, I do get very sad, and, like, so, but I just try to say that it's coming, and she also says, my mom says this all the time, what's for you is for you. What's coming for you is coming for you. That's basically what it means, you know. what's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you the broadness of it, but not go into minute detail. Is that okay?
You just swing for the fences and I'll love you anyways.
Okay. So, um, what I really felt like, man, isn't gonna happen for me ever is, um, I, I really fell in love with a friend of mine, like hard, and I've been, I've had crushes before, but this wasn't a crush. Like I was, I was basically, I fell in love with this person almost 7 years ago, and we so I told her about it. We had discussions around it, but she still doesn't feel the way that I do, and I'm still, I still have the feelings that I do. And when I first went through this, it's like I noticed that I was in love because normally when I ask someone out, when I asked someone out before, I would be like so nervous about it. So like it would take me a long time to do it. But I always said to myself, okay, even if they say no, we'll still be friends, and it's cool. Like, and I'll just get over it. But with this one particular person, like, um, she expressed that she didn't have the same feelings,
Yeah.
but that I was an awesome person, and like she thanked me for sharing those feelings. But the one difference between this time and the other times was, and I was completely blown away by this, because first of all, I'm used to being turned down anyway. And I kind of went into it like, it's not gonna, you know, I would be very surprised if she said, yeah. So I already went into it with the mindset that I was gonna be let down easy. And it happened. But the thing that I was surprised about this time was like how much it hurt. And like I really didn't get over it. Like, especially like when it first happened, like I got really depressed. I was crying every day. My my I didn't really have an appetite, and now of course that was years ago, and I'm not going through that now. And when I think about it now, like I don't like cry every day. Like we have an awesome relationship, and we have a friendship, but I still like I'm madly in love with her.